Welcome to our home to share one of our family's Christmas stories. It's a simple story, but it's one that we find to be special to us and hopefully will be helpful to you. Most people, when they talk about me, say, oh, she's the lady that works in India with people that have leprosy, and that's true. But our work there is strictly humanitarian. We don't do any religious or missionary work at all because it's the law. So we're very careful about that. This story takes place in 2012. My husband, at the time, it was an international banking attorney with a major corporate law firm in New York City. And so you can imagine when we got a call from a member of the First Presidency asking us to be missionaries in the Dominican Republic for 3 years, we were just absolutely stunned. But it turned out to be a beautiful experience. There was one really kind of difficult challenge, and that was that you couldn't leave to go home for 3 years to see your children or grandchildren. And so our kids decided that they would bring the grandchildren to us at Christmas each year while we were there, and so we could spend just a few days together. So that was pretty special. Well, in 2012, when this story takes place, in December, our daughter-in-law called me as they were getting ready to come, and she said, our family wants to do a sub for Santa. Could you find a family that we could do that for while we're in the DR? She said, there was just so much poverty when we were there last year. We just like to do something. I said, okay, sure. So I talked to my husband. I said, John, who could we suggest? And he said, well, don't use someone in the church because there's a lot of poverty in the church there, and we were afraid that people might feel like we were playing favorites. So we thought, well, let's just get someone outside the church. So I said, okay, no problem. I have an appointment with my hairdresser this week, and I'll ask her. She was the youth leader for the evangelical church. She was a single mom. Her name was Angelina. She had 2 little girls, Angelene and Anjuri. They do this kind of funky name thing in families sometimes in the DR, and darling little family. Anyways, as she was doing my hair, I said, Angelina, can you just tell me what your girls are hoping to get from Santa this year? And she said, Hermana Douglas, Sister Douglas, we don't, Dominicans, we just don't give gifts at Christmas. We don't have any money. And I thought, seriously? Really? You never give your kids Christmas gifts? Oh no, I've never given them a Christmas gift. And I was just stunned. I mean, I've only seen her at this spa before, which is a lovely place. She's always in a nice uniform. I just assumed that she had, that financially she was reasonably comfortable. And this kind of took me back a little bit. And I said, wow, well, so how do you celebrate Christmas then? And she said, oh, well, the girls and I will go to the Christmas service at our church in the morning. I said, great, and then what? And she said, that's it. And I said, well, really? I mean, your mom lives, what, an hour and a half away in Santiago? Aren't you going to take the girls and visit her for Christmas? And she said, Hermana Douglas, I don't have a car. And she said, it's $8 for a bus ticket, and we would need 3. That would be $24. She said, there's just no way that we could do that. And I said, okay, well, are you going to have a Christmas dinner with the kids? And she said, well, I mean, I guess I'll just cook rice and beans like I always do because that's what we can afford. And now I'm thinking, this is the family that we could do a sub for Santa for. I mean, I had no idea that she was someone who was struggling so much financially. And so I said, okay, well, so you know what? If your kids were going to get something from Santa, what do you think they would want? She said, I have no idea. I said, well, don't they ever talk about what they would like? Do they watch TV? Do they see toys on TV? She said, they've never had a toy. They don't talk about toys. And I said, okay, well, I mean, would they like a doll? I mean, what kind of things do you think they would like to play with? And she goes, yeah, I mean, I guess they would like a doll. And I said, well, what about you? Do you have anything that you would like? And she had a hard time wrapping her mind around the idea of a wish list. And so I kind of explained to her what that was, and she said, I don't really have a wish list. And I said, well, do you have any clothes you want or any jewelry? And she just looked at me like I was crazy. And then, what about something for your kitchen? And she said, oh, yeah, I would like a little refrigerator. And I said, really? Is your refrigerator broken? And she said, I don't have a refrigerator. I said, you seriously? And she said, I've never had a refrigerator. I said, come on, how do you run a family without a refrigerator? And she said, well, every day after work, I walk to the corner store and I buy rice and beans, and then I go home and I cook it, and we have to eat everything I cook because, you know, it's hot and humid here, and if we don't eat it, then the rats will come or it'll rot during the night. So I just do that every day. But if I had a refrigerator, just even a little one, I could cook for like 2 or 3 days at a time. It would be amazing. I just was stunned. And I said, okay, well then, no, that's great. Well, before I left, I talked to her employer and clandestinely got her address. And so Christmas morning with our kids and our grandkids, we went and caroled at her home. And when she came to the door, she just was stunned to see us. And she invited us in. We had to go up some stairs and to her home, which was a kitchen. You had to go through the kitchen to get to the 1 bedroom. And then off to the side was a little bathroom. That was the entire house, and for the 3 of them. And so anyway, we come up the stairs carrying these big presents, and we didn't have a lot. We bought like a couple of dolls, a couple of dresses, a couple of play clothes. I mean, it was very simple, but these girls, I just wish I could describe their eyes to you. They just were, they just couldn't believe it. So we get up there, we have these presents, and they started unwrapping presents, and with every present, there were squeals of giggles and laughter and shouting and jumping up and down. And we actually have a video of this, and it's just the sweetest thing. You just can't imagine more ecstasy if you tried. Angelina was a little teary, but the girls were just hugging her, hugging each other, hugging us. I mean, just all, it was so cute. Well, so then I said, well, we also have a church service this morning. We need to go. So as we went into the kitchen so we could go downstairs, in the meantime, while we'd been in the bedroom, our son had sneaked up there with a little tiny microwave and a little half-size refrigerator and put bows on them, and they were sitting in her kitchen. And as she walked out and saw those, I mean, she just burst into tears. She totally lost it. And I just, long story short, it was just a happy Christmas for everyone that was involved in that. We will never forget it. Well, the next December, when I was down there, again, this is 2014, getting my hair done, she said, so Hermana Douglas, do you remember when your family did that thing for us last Christmas? And I thought, oh no, she's gonna expect this every year now, and we have like created a monster here. But then she said, you know, that made us feel so happy and so loved and just like so special. We decided that we want to do that for a poor family. I just said, seriously? For a poor family? Wow. She said, yeah, there are 2 single moms that I know that live in this little shack, and it blew down last week in that big storm. It literally collapsed on their heads. Them and their 5 children, they all managed to get out alive, but they have nowhere to live. And she said, I was thinking that maybe we could build them a home. And she said, I can donate my salary from December, but it won't be enough to buy all the supplies we need. And I was wondering if maybe you all could help us, and maybe if your missionaries could come by and help us. And like, I was just so amazed. So we did. We had a friend that had sent money into John, sort of random times, and said, if anyone needs this in your mission, please, you know, just give it to him. So we called him, and he thought this was a great idea. And so they literally built a home for these 2 single moms and their 5 kids, literally built a house. And our missionaries helped. And every year since then, Angelina has called us and said, oh, so this year my sub for Santa, she now knows the name, I want to do this, I want to do this. And it has been, I mean, it's now 2020, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 8 years now. She has done this and has helped so many people. One story in particular that was just especially touching was she worked with a girl at the salon named, I'm going to call her Jamie. She was a Haitian, and Haitians have a really hard time getting employment in the Dominican Republic because there's a lot of normal unemployment, and they don't want the Haitians taking their jobs. They just want them back across the border. But Angelina had gotten her the original job at this first little place, and then Angelina got a job at a higher class resort spa. She's making a lot more money. She had higher end customers, and they were giving her big tips. And she eventually twisted their arm to hire Jamie also from the first salon. So Jamie came, but when she got there, she looked at Angelina. She had all these customers, was making all this money, and I guess Jamie felt a little jealous. And so she started making up rumors about Angelina and trying to steal her customers. So that friendship, that little friendship just started falling apart, and it was pretty sad. But anyway, that year, Angelina called us. We were home by now. I think it was like 2016 or 17. And she said, Armando Douglas, this year for our Sub for Santa, I would like to build a home for the parents of Jamie. And I just said, I think I was so dumbfounded. I said, are you kidding me? I mean, she is so mean to you. You have been so good to her. She is so mean to you. And she said, but you know what? Her father got sick and lost his job, and they've lost their home now. And she said, so Jamie's brother and his family live with them, her sister and their family live with them. There's like 12 people living in this one, that were living in this one little home, and they are homeless now. And so I would like to build them a house if you can help. And if you think you can get those missionaries to help again. And so she said, I'm willing to commit every other paycheck for 6 months to help pay for the supplies, but I might need a little extra help. And then it took her a year to build that house. And every single day for a year, when she finished work at 5 o'clock at the spa, she would go to work on that house until 10 o'clock at night. It was amazing, right? It was just so Christ-like. It was hard for me to understand a soul that's that big. Anyway, we got to see that house and walk through it, and the family, and of course they're all good friends again. To me, this is like the magic of Christmas. This is what Christmas is. First of all, our Father, our eternal Father, gave us his Son, Jesus Christ, that gift at Christmas time. He sent him here to die for us. And that was his gift. He died for us that we might have eternal life. And so we even get to give gifts at this time, this special time of year, in memory of that. And then it's almost like this magic happens. It reminds me a little bit of the parable of the 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread. Remember when Jesus was teaching the multitude and they got hungry and no one had any food except for one little kid that had 2 fish and one guy that had 5 little round loaves of bread. And Jesus took it and he blessed it. And he fed 5,000 people with that. And I think about this little tiny Sub for Santa that our family did, this just small little thing. And over the years, how it has grown, it has empowered Angelina to reach out and to lift and to help others. It's drawn her family closer together. It's drawn her closer to the church. In fact, at one point she called and she said, I've decided I want to get baptized in your church. And I was so surprised. I said, really? I mean, why? And she said, because I just so believe in serving others. I feel so good when I do that. And I think that's what Jesus wants his followers to do. And that's what your church teaches. And I thought, dang, you could teach us a few things, the way you serve. But anyway, so the service that she's done, it's not only served how many people, provided homes for them, it's healed a friendship. It's brought her to the gospel. It's done all these amazing things because God has blessed those 2 little fish and the 5 loaves that we gave and made it into an amazing Christmas miracle. And so every year for the rest of our lives, we'll be able to participate in this Christmas miracle with our dear friend Angelina. And I'm hoping that your family also will be able to share in this gift of giving at Christmas time and invite the Spirit of the Lord into your homes as well.